All right, everybody, welcome to the Get More podcast, where we get more out of life and business. I'm Chris Hill, and I am here with
Natalie Harrison
and
Alexus Tallent.
And we are so glad to have them here. Today, we are going to talk about a little bit more than just what you do in real estate, but how do you show up in real estate and what that looks like for you. We know you deserved a lot more than just a LinkedIn post. We wanted to actually put you on here, talk to the people, and see what's going on. Because, I mean, number one, I love both of y'all because y'all are amazing individuals, but y'all are actually really fun.
And we love you too.
We love
Chris.
you. Thank you.
Look at me. Listen, this is still my birthday weekend. I'll take all the love I can get. Woo! Y'all didn't tell me that 40-year-old means that you can't get out of cars the same way.
Oh, it's downhill from there.
Shut up. That's not what's happening right now. No, it's good times. But I'm so glad that you all are here. So let's get into intro. So let's talk through a little bit of who you are, what business that you work in, and what clients that you have, and just a little bit about yourselves.
I'm Natalie Harrison, realtor in the Middle Tennessee area.
Yes.
I'm a mother. I'm a wife. I'm a shopper.
And you're from West Tennessee.
And I'm from West Tennessee.
That's how we got connected.
Yeah.
I had an open
West
house,
10.
and I was like, hold on, wait. I said, wait a minute. You from West Tennessee? You're like, yeah. I know close to Jackson.
I picked up some signs and lock boxes
sure
for
did,
you, and
'cause
you
I
ended
needed
up
that
having
help.
to come by the house, and that's how we
We
found
sure
out.
did. Well, cool.
Yeah, so I do business back in West Tennessee too. Still have a lot of family and friends there, so I go back and forth. I'm all over. Yeah,
And she is not
worldwide.
playing. She is worldwide because she just was talking to another agent about another area of Tennessee that I had never heard of.
Yeah.
Like, what is McKenzie, Tennessee?
Small,
What was the other one?
Milan.
Milan.
Milan, Tennessee. Yeah.
I've never heard of this.
Listen, I'm like Milan. That's not it. Well, thank you for bougie. All right.
My name's Alexus Tallent. I have a small team called the Tallent Group. So we serve all of Middle Tennessee. And I'm a wife, a mom, serial entrepreneur. My husband and I own other businesses. So I fell into real estate and have been going ever since.
So tell me, when you both first got started in real estate, like, how was it that first year? Was it amazing? Was it ignorant? Where were you at when you first got started from where you are now?
It was an experience.
It was an experience.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love when people say that.
You kind of guinea pig it through, you know? But yeah, it was an experience. But it was still great. Yeah, I dove right in. I was ready. So.
Oh, you were ready. You were like, listen,
yeah.
let me get to it.
Let's get to it.
Like, what does that chick say this? Oh, did I just help 3 people?
Yes.
Okay. What about you?
It was a whirlwind. I think I dove right in and got busy very quickly. I was on a team when I started, so I was doing all the buying transactions for the team and really was just kind of thrown in and hit the ground running and haven't stopped since, really.
Yeah, sure. You neither one of you have. Every time I see y'all are always on the go. Yeah. It's a quick conversation because we got to go to the next list. I got a listing appointment, and if I see you couldn't. I look on your social media, and every time I see something, okay, Tallent Group, at Natalie Harrison, and you put that picture on there. Okay, just listed.
Yeah.
I love to see that. So let's talk through how did we get there? Walk me through what your business looks like right now and what you're really proud of.
Successful.
Come on, successful.
Both of us are top agents, so
Absolutely.
we're proud of that. It is very hard. Real estate is a hard business.
No, it's not.
But I was always taught, I'm going to tell you this though, I was always taught as soon as I got my license, if you hustle hard, that first 1 to 2 years of your business, you'll see the success. And that's what I'm seeing now. So I love people. I'm just a people person.
You are.
So I'm in the right business. It's a relationship business, and I love people. A lot of mine are organic referrals. I don't pay for leads. I let people come to me. So just word of mouth, and it's been working out.
It has been working out. It's really good that you put that out there, that you have to put the work in. There are so many people who get started in this industry. They're like, it's not going the way I wanted to. It's not popping out the way I expected it. But what work are you putting into it?
Exactly.
Because you don't really see the work. But what about you? Where are you at now, and what are you proud of?
So right now, my business is referral based at this point, but it hasn't always been that way.
Okay.
When I got started, I was very heavy with for sale by owners, expired listings on the phone.
Oh, you were expired listings and for sale by
cold calling.
Ooh, that is not my ministry.
I know it's not for everybody, but I was told if you start cold calling and you get comfortable and you get good at that, in 5 years, you're going to be thanking yourself. And I am, because those relationships that I built then and the hustle and the grind and going after first home buy owners, it's not easy. So
Oh.
it's definitely a
not
learned
easy.
skill.
Put that in all caps, people. Not easy at all.
Not at all.
You want to call, or you want to get on the phone with somebody who doesn't want to talk to you?
Yeah.
Call them for sale by owner.
Yeah, it teaches you a lot though about this business, about yourself, and so
Possible rejection.
yeah, of how to handle rejection, how to handle objection. So doing that for me, I feel like build a foundation for my business, and now it's referral based.
Well, hey, you both are known in the community. So how did that happen? Was it intentional? Did it just happen? What did you do to make sure that you were that standout agent? Because not only are you all agents in your community, but you're also standout agents just in the business of in the industry of real estate. Because when you talk to different agents, and I bring up your name, Natalie, bring up your name, Alexus, they're like, okay, I know who those people are. So how'd that happen?
Mine wasn't intentional. I go back to, like I said, I'm a people person. Love networking, and so it grows from there.
Okay,
Yeah.
you love networking. So when you get out there, anytime we send you to
I'm out
send somebody to you talking, you're like, okay, we're gonna have a good conversation. And people remember you.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. Networking, very relationship based, just being of service, even with other agents, if they're in the office, helping them out, getting to know them, learning about their business, because I think in real estate, you do need those connections with other agents so that you can serve your clients to the best of your ability and
The support.
the support and
support.
working through, changing markets and just having a group of people you can rely on. So
Yes.
definitely, building relationships has been the way to get there.
Well, you brought up the market, so now I'm going to dive into that a little bit more. So we've all been in a market that's not been easy, but how have you really managed it, and what's really required what's required you to make a shift?
I know Alexis going to agree with me. The market is marketing.
It is market. That's that's the best way to put it.
Yes. We've seen a shift recently. It's not like it was 6 months ago, a year ago, and so there's more inventory sitting on the market. Homes are sitting longer, and so it takes more strategy, more advertising.
The
more,
real agents, the real
real
estate agents have to stand up now.
Yes. Gone are the days, years ago, agents could just put a for sale sign in the yard and the people would come. Those
Can we
days
go back
are
to that day?
gone, so.
I want that. I got 3 listings right now. I just want to put the sign in the yard and see if it happens. But you got to do the work.
Exactly. You have to put in the work. It's not like, a lot of times it's so easy to, TV makes it look easy, like selling Sunset or, a lot of times they see our social media and they just see the pictures at the closing table and the happiness. They don't see all the
conversations that y'all probably, because there's another layer to this as well. But not only are you all agents, but you're also friends and connected in the office, and you all are a support system. It's not just you, it's a couple of agents that are together, and you all really hold each other up.
It's 5 of us. Yeah,
and how has that been? What is that dynamic like?
It's been great. Just having, a group of people that you can go to, whether it be real estate, personal, with your kids, husbands, whatever.
Don't do us like that.
Whatever it may be, we can reach out to our group and just say, hey, this is what I'm going through. And you have that support to lean on, because real estate, I think in general, is an isolating business because you are trying to hustle and pave your own way, and you're not around people, working alongside them per se 24/7. A lot of it is, your head down, focusing on what you need to do. So having that group has been really, really
head
helpful.
down and focusing. You can really be a silo in this business.
Yes.
And I know you see it all the time.
Definitely.
And sometimes you see an agent and you're like, hey, are you okay? You good? Because
Yes,
you look like you might be going through a tough time.
Yeah.
I love those people who are in our, and I know you all do that on a continual basis, but who look out for those agents and say, hey, are you all right? Are you good? Because I know it can be really ignorant out there.
Yes, yeah. That's what we love about our tribe is Alexis and I, we've got 3 other close friends that we stay close to, close-knit, and we're relatable. We're all moms and we're all wives and we all have husbands and all other kind of stuff going on. Like Alexis said, they've got several businesses. My husband and I just became a landlord last year. So we've got investment property, and it we go through so many things on the daily that it helps to have that support system where we can just jump in the group chat or just pick up the phone and be like, girl, let me tell you about today.
Let me tell you about today.
Yes.
And then by the time you get off the phone, you're like, I'm so glad I called Alexis. I'm so
you
glad I
feel
called
so
Natalie.
much better.
I needed that moment.
Yes,
Well, that takes us into our next area what I want to talk about. So you all, real estate's not a 9 to 5. So you both have husbands, families, and everything outside of that. But How does that really work? Being in real estate, but also having a family. Where's it is there? I was talking with Alexis earlier, and I said, "Hey, when did you find balance?" And she was looking like, "Shoot, 20 minutes ago."
Yeah,
Yes.
it's very hard to
It's
find
very
that balance,
hard.
especially when you're in the building phase of your business, because you're wanting to take every opportunity that you can.
Yes.
And I always tell my friends and anyone who comes to me about getting in this business or any business for that matter is that it's not always going to be you're giving 100% at home, 100% in your business, 100% with your friends. Sometimes some areas you are going to slack off, and that's okay. Everything comes in waves and everything's a season. So just giving yourself grace. I think that's the start of finding balance because
Give
we're
yourself
very
grace.
hard on
Yes.
ourselves, very hard on
Very
ourselves.
hard.
Have you had to give? Where was the time when you had to really give yourself some grace?
A lot of times it comes when I can't be at everything for my kids.
Okay.
When, there's 5 events that week at school and I can make 3
Kids
of
have
them.
so many.
I know
events.
it's ridiculous.
My
Every
gosh,
day.
you got to do You got to get the practices. Then you got to get the
Yes,
the
gotta
events
get that
before the
in.
practice. Then you actually have the event. Then you have to have the celebration after the event.
Yes.
And don't
It's
be
a
in
lot.
sports.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a lot. So when I'm like, oh, I can't make it to everything, but I've made it to 90% of the things.
90% sounds pretty good
I
to
mean,
me.
it's doing pretty good, but
Are you at 90%?
I'm about there.
Okay, good. Y'all
I still
doing
feel
good.
that mom guilt about the 10%.
Yes, you
So
do.
just giving your
Yeah.
grace, but I'm also doing this for them. So me working and showing them that, mom gets up and goes to work every day and I'm building something.
I saw them with the Mickey ears.
Yeah,
When y'all went to
listen.
Disneyland, Disney World.
The kids are expensive, so
They
we have to sell
are.
the houses to maintain their lifestyle, really.
Yes.
That makes sense. What about you? What does that look like for you as far as balance?
That was the hardest thing for me, especially the first year, second year was finding that work-life balance. My baby girl is 8 and she will check me in a minute.
She is a firecracker.
She is.
She does not. I don't know.
She's so full of personality.
You gave her all that personality from both of y'all.
But she will tell me, Mom, put the laptop down. Mom, can we play Uno and you not be on your phone? Mom, So I had to, it took about I would say the first year and a half, when I had to finally realize the work will still be there, and also teaching our clients
Boundaries.
that, that we have boundaries. Yeah. Not accepting calls after a certain time. And, and it's hard
That's
because
really
real estate
tough.
is 24/7. You got to learn when to turn it off and turn it on.
I had a mentor to tell me, like, there's nothing that's going to happen between 9 o'clock
Exactly.
and the next morning that unless the
Some
house is
people
burning
think it
down,
will, but yeah.
literally burning down, you can handle that tomorrow.
Yeah.
But when you're in the moment and you're working with a deal, you're like,
Yes.
no, I need to answer that call right now.
Right.
But don't be the agent that always. Well, be the agent. What's up with agents not answering the phone these days?
Oh, let's not get on.
I don't
that.
know.
Oh, I don't get.
I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to help you in your life
exactly
and help your client.
Yes.
Can you just answer the phone?
That's one thing
Or
I
just
do
a
not
text
understand.
back.
Something,
Yeah.
an acknowledgement.
Please, and also make it easy so I can find your information too.
Right.
Because if I go to your social media page and I
And
cannot
can't find it
where's your phone?
anywhere.
Now I got to go to an old post that you
Right.
put down there because you didn't want to get sued by Trick. So you put your number down there. I shouldn't have to work this hard to find you.
Yes.
Okay, now I'm off my soapbox. Okay, so tell me about where you had to completely shift, not a small adjustment, but a real pivot. What happened and what did it cost you?
For me, it was probably 2 years in when I realized this is a true business and I need to run it as such and setting those boundaries because when you're producing at a high level, it's very easy for your clients to take over your life. And so I think for me, that was the big shift of okay, let me set some boundaries. I have a work phone. So,
Me and you both have the two phones.
The 2 phones.
The one you could throw in the drawer.
Yes, I have a work phone. So if I am at something with my kids or my family, I'll put my work phone on D&D
Definitely.
and put it in my purse or put it away. And, when that's my time with my family and kids. So I think setting boundaries has really been the big shift for me. And when you do that, you're able to elevate your business and, delegate time.
If being able to do that is really great. And I like that you said that I just put on do not disturb and set that boundary. If you don't set that boundary, people will treat you how you let them, and you're just always available and able to answer the phone. They're gonna call you at every moment they possibly can. And you're like, well, why are they upset? Because we want to make sure that the clients feel that they're very important, and we do that. But there are some times where you do have to set that. You look.
Same. Yeah, I'm glad Alexis said that, because same for me, boundaries and just that balance, And the thing that I always think about is that I want to work with people that want to work with me.
Oh man.
So hopefully they'll understand that. And those that don't, maybe we're not a good fit.
When was the last time you had to fire a client?
Oh, recently.
2 weeks ago.
Oh, really? Tell me about it.
I think off the jump, his expectations were skewed.
I love that she said skewed.
I mean, it's just so good. I'm trying to be, I'm trying to keep it PG.
Keep it cute.
I'm trying to keep it cute. Just off the bat, very demanding, combative, didn't want to listen.
Combative?
Yeah, combative. Just didn't want to listen to suggestions. And this isn't a market where we can, really play games about what we're pricing things at and the things that we're doing. So
correct.
I can usually foresee if a client is going to be an issue, and I'm very big on all money ain't good money. So I
put that on a t-shirt.
I know, right?
Yes.
I'm very big on that. So I was like, I think it'd be best if you found someone that can meet your needs. Yeah.
You went and celebrated as soon as you got done.
Yeah.
I love that you said I just went ahead and did it.
Yeah.
And so you did 2 weeks ago, and yours was how long ago?
Mine was about the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
So it was pretty much the same scenario. And this is the thing, the market has shifted, and these sellers sometimes see these big numbers in their head that just aren't attainable. And so, a lot of times they'll wrap their memories up in the home. And my daughter took her first steps, and my son, blah, blah, blah. Well, all of that doesn't equate to money and equity, And so I had some sellers that wanted to use me. But the number that they had in their head for where they wanted to list the home at was outrageous.
Were those steps by a baby that turned into a celebrity or something? Unless Taylor Swift was walking across his floor.
Right.
And so I'm at the point now where, and I enjoy being at this point in my business, but I can work with who I choose as well. So I decided to turn them away. We weren't going to mesh. Yeah, we couldn't come to terms on numbers and other things too. And it's okay to say no.
Yeah, absolutely.
For our peace and sanity.
Do you see that often where sometimes people don't want to say no?
Oh, absolutely.
You lose so much more time and energy and money.
Time, energy, money. And a lot of times at the end of the transaction, they're not happy. Then you risk them, bashing you on social media, or
it's not a referable experience.
It's not a referable experience. Exactly. And I think as business owners, that's one of the things that I think our group really tries to make sure that we are creating an experience for our clients. So just on the front end, having that expectation of like, if it's not going to work.
When you're in the business long enough, you can see it.
Oh, yes.
You know what? I see it. We're not going to work out. Let me refer you.
Yes.
I don't even need a referral fee. just take it. Just go ahead. Because you're going to need every penny that you get from this transaction.
Somebody's about to work hard for that.
Somebody's really about to work hard on that.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So now we talked about the business and how it looks and how you built your business. But now let's talk a little bit what those layers of business are. Because not only are you agents, but you have things that happen outside of how you show up, but how people see you and how people perceive you in this industry. Something I want to go to for a minute, and I want to be direct about it because this conversation really, it's important for us to talk about that. But Natalie, Alexus, you are both Black women in the industry, and in the industry, and is predominantly white. So we understand what that looks like, but I want to talk what that looks like from the inside. So I want to talk about your experience and what that's really been looking like for you. And what was the first time you remember race or gender showing up as a factor in your career?
That's a really good question.
It is a good question.
I think for me, it was probably, and I can't pin down a particular event in time and place, but often, walking into top producer masterminds within the industry here, or, anything where we're at the top 10, 20%, and people just say, oh, well, what are you doing here? And it's like, well, I've earned it.
Yes.
Now what are you doing here?
And it's like, oh, well, that honestly, those are questions we get. What are you doing here? Like, oh, well.
What are you doing here?
The same thing
No,
you're
but for
doing.
real, what are you doing here? I know your numbers.
Yeah.
And it's just, that's a question that we get. So
Wow.
I think that is probably the first time that I've ever had that happen. And I feel like a lot of people, that look like me have had that experience.
I've got a question before. How did you get that listing? I had
That's a big one.
What kind of
$1 million listing,
Okay.
and I was asked how I got it, and my answer was I work.
right?
It's just as simple as that, So
Yeah.
Those are when you and as having this conversation, we've had conversations in the past before about what does it really look like. There is a difference in our industry when it comes to certain experiences that we have versus other people. And you really have to take time to understand that. That's why I appreciate that you all have found a core group of Black women
And
who
we
are
appreciate
who are
it, too.
all top producers who have
Yes.
found a space to make sure that you hold each other accountable, but also support each other.
yes.
Because it can be tough in the industry. Having questions about what are you doing here? How did you get that? Those small conversations and little microaggressions can really put you in a position where you're like, wow, I feel like I'm out here by myself. Like, do I belong? It can, if you aren't strong enough, you don't have your support, it can make you feel like,
Yeah.
feel a certain way.
Yeah,
And
for
our
sure.
support system is so profound, for that. That's discussions we get to have with one another, because we're relatable, because we're top producing agents, we're Black African American agents in this industry, and so we're able to, just amongst ourselves, kind of take it off paper and just talk and talk through it, with one another about the things that we go through. Sometimes on a daily, sometimes on a monthly,
Well, are there rooms in the industry that you feel like you had to work twice as hard to get into? And once you got in, what did it feel like?
Probably any leadership role.
Mm-hmm.
I would say any, leadership type role within the industry, or where you're, on a panel, or you're, mentoring. I think that those are a little bit harder spaces to get into for us sometimes. And I don't think it's intentional. I just think that is not always spaces that we are often. I just don't think that there are a lot of people that look like us that are in those roles. So it is harder
Sometimes
to break that glass ceiling and, get there.
I think sometimes it can be easy for us to be overlooked,
Right.
Unfortunately, but we navigate pretty well. Yeah.
So tell me about the experience. So being a Black woman in real estate and knowing this is where I'm at. How do you show up for other agents that you see in that position to say, how can I step in and help? How do I make sure that you have that? Because I see you both doing it all the time. How has that been looking for you?
Recently, and let me jump in on this. Recently, I've done that so much. There's a few newer agents, 3 that I can think of right offhand. One I just got off the phone with yesterday for over an hour, and then she had called me 2 times prior to that over the weekend after I got back from vacation. But just being able to be there for them and being a support system, because this is a hard industry,
You got to tell me twice.
And it can be discouraging, and it can kind of be disappointing coming in and not feeling like you have that support, or being able to look around you and see that other people, that look like you, that can, help you navigate through the challenges that we face.
Absolutely. I appreciate that. What about you?
The same, just being encouraging to any new agent, or even agents that have been in the business for quite some time that are struggling right now because there is a shift. So just being, a resource and encouragement and talking life into other agents that we're around, I think is very important. And also not even just that don't look like us, that maybe have different walks of life.
Absolutely.
Because I think that's a real conversation as well. Single moms coming into the industry because they want to better their lives, or, whatever it may be. If someone's gone through a divorce and they're like, I need to get into a business and do something, just being there for them and showing like, hey, if I can do it, you can do it. And this is my story. And here's 10 other people that have a similar story to you, and connecting them.
I know you've all seen it where people will tell you exactly how to run your business and exactly what you should be doing. And it's like, oh, all you have to do is this or do that. And it'll work. That doesn't always work for everybody because, like you said, we're all different individuals. So we all have to step in. And I know we're also connected with NAREB, So National Association of Real Estate Brokers, that's something that was created. It was a group that was created for real estate professionals. And why that's important is because there was a need. The National Association of Realtors would not allow agents who were Black to be called realtors. So we had to find our own real estate term. Our own real estate term, and that was called Realtist. And so if you were a part of the National Association of Real Estate Brokers, then that is great, because that's the best trade organization for you to be a part of as far as making change, not only for Black agents, but making change in democracy, because democracy in housing is a big push. And so all those different things that we see that we have to, we go on the test, and we have to see what date that happened, or when was this, or I want to get sued because of doing these different things. That was created because of NAREB. So that's important. And the reason I wanted to bring that up is because there's something called the State of Black Housing in America report, the SHEBA report. And that report talks about, and this is just the disparity in Nashville in general, but 70% of white people in Nashville are homeowners. But for Black people in the same city, it's only like 35%. So there is a big gap. And so when you're working in this industry, if you know that gap exists, there's a certain amount of conversation that has to be had on how do I engage with certain members of different communities. And so I love that you all step in there and are showing up, because not only does that affect the buyers, but it also affects the realtors as well.
It does.
Because a lot of times you may be in this industry and you may not have purchased a house, but you want to help build wealth. And you want to make sure you step into that space. So thank you all for doing that for your office. Because I see y'all in there, you're hustling, but you also don't mind. If I send y'all a person and say, hey, can you talk to this person? You have no problem saying, let me talk to them for a little bit. Okay, so how do you stay motivated when systems you're operating in isn't always set up to see you clearly?
It's always an eye-opener when I like to take a look at myself in the mirror and see how I can adjust or change, what way I may need to pivot. Just to kind of face that challenge.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about you?
For me personally, I always like a challenge. So if
she smiles, she likes that challenge.
I do.
You said, bring it to me.
I love a challenge. So if I feel challenged in any way, it always motivates me to continue to show up and do more and do better, do bigger. So, I just see it as an opportunity to prove myself.
You're not the one going to the house saying, it was a tough day, I'm going to wrap myself up and go to bed.
No,
I wake up tomorrow and see what happens. You're like, no, we are stepping down.
And funny story, when I first got into real estate, I told my father-in-law, I was like, I'm going to get into real estate and be a realtor. And he has been my biggest cheerleader, but he was like, that's a really hard business. I tried to do it and it just, I don't know. I don't know about it. And I was like, okay, watch me.
And look at you. Sometimes you need that little, I won't say that, but that little push to say, I don't know if that's it. You're like, I'm going to show you.
Yeah. That's your motivation.
You get motivation. It's weird. It's funny where you get motivation from. Sometimes it can come from somebody said I couldn't do it. Okay, now I'm going to show you that I can do it. And I'm going to do it 3 times better than you can.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. So I really want to know a little bit more about what you know, and really talking to people who are not in your position now, but are looking to go there, because you all really represent the industry at a totally different light now that you've been in for a while. So if there's an agent who you want to talk to right now, listening in, and who's grinding and doubting themselves, trying to figure out the industry and where they have a place at, what would you say to them?
Well, I'm always encouraging. My top thing that I would say is, first of all, like we talked about earlier, it's a difficult business. We make it look easy. It's a difficult business, so you have to be prepared to work hard and hustle, and the success will come, but you have to put in that work ahead of time up front.
Correct. And that work looks different for everybody.
It does.
I wish there was just a roadmap where it says this is the only way to do it. And you're like, okay, that's it.
Yeah, because, just like parenthood. It's no manual.
Man. Listen, it's no manual for that. It's no manual for marriage. Where are the manuals?
They don't exist.
somebody needs to write one. What about you?
For me, I would say find your why. Find your why. Why are you doing this? Why do you want to be successful in this? And then work backwards from that. So if your why is that you want to be able to, have wealth, what does that look like for you? Like, what does your life at that point look like? And work backwards from that and find, ways to grow your business that you like doing, because people can tell you to cold call. People can tell you, do open houses. But if you're not enjoying it, it's going to be very hard to be successful. So find your why, work backwards, and find something that you enjoy doing and build your business off that.
That's good. One more thing is what's one thing that you want agents of any background, regardless of background, to take away from this particular conversation from today?
I think that anyone can make it in this business if you put the work in and you believe in yourself and you surround yourself and put yourself in the right rooms. I think that anyone can be successful in this. We're not, these superheroes that just sell these houses all day,
No, I thought I saw your cape in the office.
I mean, my pink cape is in the office.
I was gonna be a pink. Oh, you do like pink.
I love pink.
I forgot that's your
That's
logo.
my brand color. Yes. We're everyday people, and we just work really, really hard, and we try to, make an impact. And if you lead with that, you can be successful.
Okay, and so I want to ask you both a question. So this is the Get More podcast. So how we get more out of life and business. So what does more mean to you right now?
I'll be 46 next week. Okay.
Ain't no way. It don't correct.
And so, hey.
Not at all.
I ain't mad at you.
And so as I've gotten older and realized that I have more days behind me than ahead of me, you learn you want peace, you want tranquility, you want ease.
In your blocking season.
Yes, yeah. And so one of my biggest things was learning to say no and realizing that no is a complete sentence.
Oh, absolutely.
For real?
That was big for me.
When was that? When did that shift change?
About a year and a half ago.
Okay.
And it was so empowering because I'm going back to saying I'm a people person and I care. I'm a Cancer.
Oh.
So that's my sign.
You know about the Cancers.
We're emotional.
Oh, yes,
and
you
so,
are.
Yeah. And so it was difficult. That's been a difficult thing for me. But learning to say no, learning my boundaries, and that no is a complete sentence. Yeah.
It really is a complete sentence. When you get ready, you get to a point where you are saying, you know what, I could. Saying no saves you so much.
It does.
Because it keeps the relationships intact.
It does.
Because I would rather you say no now than when it gets time to do it, you're not doing it with the right energy, the right spirit, and now you should have said no a long time ago.
And learning that I don't have to explain why it's a no either.
Oh my.
So.
It's funny story. I asked my aunt because she's 70 now, and I said, "Hey, you know what age did you get to when you just said, you know what, I'm still caring?" She said 45. She said, when I got 45, it was done. See? So she might have a little something on there.
I'm there.
What about you?
For me, I think just more freedom with life. I think that is where I'm at right now, what I want to get more out of, with being in this real estate industry, because it's very attainable. You can, get to the point where you work, 3 days a week, 4 days a week, and then you can be mom or wife or travel or do whatever it is that you want to do.
All the titles. You got at least 30 of them.
I know, right? All of them. I think freedom, just freedom, and to be able to do what you want and, live the life that you want to live.
Well, I'm glad. So thank you for sharing that. And I want to do a quick just shout out to you all for being in our space and coming in here having this conversation today. Thank you all for being here, because I know we had a quick pivot to make sure that you all were here. But thank you for coming on our podcast today.
Well, thank you for thinking of us.
You are so welcome. And thank you for being here. So everyone, this is Chris Hill signing off from the Get Well podcast. If they want to know more about you or where to follow you at, how can we find more where you are? What are those Instagram handles?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook as Natalie Harrison. Business page, Natalie Harrison, Keller Williams Realtor. My Instagram is Turn the Key with Natalie.
Oh, we love Turn the Key with Natalie. Come on, Natalie.
So cool. My personal Instagram and Facebook is just Alexus Tallent. And then I have a team page for myself and my team, which is the Tallent Group. So you can find us there and see all of our shenanigans.
That's right, Alex. You said just the name. That's enough. That's all I need. Well, hey, everyone, don't forget to like and subscribe. We appreciate you for being here with us. And until next time, this is Chris signing off with the Get More podcast.
Bye.